Welcome back to the deep dive. Have you ever had that feeling where you're speaking English, like technically everything's correct,
Mm-hmm.
but you still feel kind of outside the conversation? Like there's this invisible wall?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, this deep dive is all about breaking down that wall. We're going beyond the grammar rules today.
We're looking at the shortcuts, the real fast track to sounding natural in English conversations. We're talking about idioms.
Exactly. That gap you mentioned between correct textbook English and, well, real English.
That's the target. Idioms are kind of the glue, you could say. Our mission here is to really boost your conversational fluency.
Giving you, the listener, the tools so you don't sound like you're reading from a script, but like
Yeah.
you genuinely belong in the chat.
Right. So maybe we should start with the basics. Just nail down what we mean by idiom.
Good idea. So, baseline definition. What is an idiom?
Okay, simply put, an idiom is a phrase. It's usually fixed, where the meaning has basically nothing to do with the individual words.
It's completely non-literal.
Totally. So your example from earlier, if someone says break the ice.
I shouldn't picture them actually smashing ice cubes.
Definitely not. No, it just means starting a friendly conversation. Maybe easing some tension or awkwardness.
I,
And the key thing here, the real value, is that these phrases work like cultural keys.
Cultural keys.
I like that. Yeah, they let you bypass maybe long, clunky explanations and just tap directly into how native speakers think and feel and connect, often with a bit of humor, too.
Okay, so that makes sense. But let's get into the why. Why should someone learning English bother prioritizing these, frankly, sometimes confusing phrases instead of, I don't know, spending more time on verb tenses?
That's a fair question. And the payoff, it's not just about language, it's social, it's about connection. Our sources point to four really big reasons.
Four key reasons, okay.
The first one is, well, immediate impact. Idioms make your English sound natural, instantly.
Right. That jump from just being understood to actually sounding engaging, like you said, sounding like you belong.
Yeah. Think about saying, I'm very happy. It's fine. It's correct.
Sure.
But if you say, I'm on cloud nine, it just lands differently, doesn't it?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
It feels more authentic. It signals, hey, I get the local shortcuts.
Exactly. And that connects right into the second point, expressing emotion better, painting pictures with your words.
Yeah. Because simple statements can be a bit flat.
Yeah.
Idioms have personality.
They really do. She told the secret. Okay, factual.
Mm-hmm.
Now compare it to, she spilled the beans. Suddenly there's drama, there's imagery.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you can almost see the beans spilling everywhere.
Right. Idioms carry feelings, humor, attitude, stuff that plain grammar often misses.
And thinking about, watching movies or listening to music, if you miss the idiom, you can miss the whole point.
That's reason number 3. Comprehension. It's huge. You're listening to people talk fast or watching a film. That one idiomatic phrase you don't catch, it can make the whole scene confusing.
So mastering them really sharpens your listening. You start catching nuances.
Definitely. Which brings us nicely to the 4th reason, that cultural connection piece.
Right. These phrases aren't just random collections of words.
Right.
They often have little bits of history baked in or shared jokes.
Precisely. Using them shows you're not just reciting vocabulary lists, you're actually participating in the culture. It shows you don't just know about English, you kind of live it.
Okay, powerful stuff. So let's move to the practical side, the toolkit. Theory's great, but we want listeners to feel more confident, like today.
Absolutely.
We've picked out 7 really essential idioms that you can start using straight away. Let's maybe do a quick run through, meaning usage tip.
Sounds good. Let's start with one for just making social situations easier. Break the ice. We already touched on it.
Right, starting a friendly conversation.
Yeah.
And the tip.
Keep it simple. Don't stress. A compliment, an easy question, anything to just get the ball rolling and, shatter that initial silence.
Good one. Okay, next. A piece of cake?
Meaning something is really, really easy. Simple.
Learners will love this one. It sounds so much more upbeat and confident than just saying, oh, it's easy.
It does. Use it when you want to sound capable, positive. Okay, now for sounding sharp, maybe in a work meeting. Hit the nail on the head.
Ooh, I like this one. It means you've described something perfectly, like the exact cause of a problem.
Exactly. You could say, your analysis really hit the nail on the head. It shows you've understood deeply and quickly.
Nice. Okay, let's talk health. How you say you're not feeling well matters.
It does. So the idiom is, Under the weather.
Meaning just feeling a bit unwell, maybe slightly sick. It feels
Yeah.
gentler, more polite than saying I'm sick, especially at work.
It's definitely softer, yeah. Gives it a human touch. Okay, shifting gears to work-life balance. Call it a day.
To stop working on something for the day. I use this one a lot. It kind of implies, you've done enough time to rest.
Shows a bit of wisdom, maybe. Right, this problem's tough. Let's call it a day and look again tomorrow.
Makes sense. Okay, next one's important for managing interactions. The ball is in your court.
This means it's now someone else's turn to act or make a decision. The responsibility has shifted.
I find this really useful. It clarifies who needs to do what next, but without sounding demanding. It gives the other person agency.
Yeah, it shows respect for their role. Okay, and finally, one for adding a bit of color when talking about how often things happen. Once in a blue moon.
Meaning very rarely, like I eat pizza, but only once in a blue moon. It's just more expressive than saying rarely or seldom.
Exactly. Adds a nice personal touch. So that's 7 to get started with.
7 great ones. But, here's the big question. English has thousands of these things. How does a learner actually master them without just feeling buried under endless lists?
That's the challenge, isn't it? It feels overwhelming.
Yeah, because fluency isn't just speed. It's using the right phrase naturally, almost without thinking. So what are the smart ways to learn, not just rote memorization?
Well, the sources really emphasize focusing on context and, interestingly, emotion. Strategy 1, learn them by theme.
Okay, that makes sense. So instead of learning alphabetically, group them. Like all the idioms about happiness together. On cloud 9, walking on air. Exactly. Or idioms about work. Back to the drawing board. Call it a day. When you need an idiom for a certain situation, your brain can find the relevant group faster.
Logical. Okay, strategy 2.
Simple but crucial. Use them daily. Practice.
Right. Don't just highlight it in a book. You've got to actually try using it, even if it's just one new idiom a day, maybe in a journal or even a text.
Yes, that consistency is key. Small steps add up fast, and it should be enjoyable, which leads to strategy 3, learn through fun activities.
Like movies, music, maybe even YouTube clips.
Definitely. When you hear an idiom in context, like in a movie scene, pause it, look it up right then.
That links the phrase to a specific memory, right? Makes it stickier than just seeing it on a list. Like, I remember hearing a phrase in a song and finally getting what it meant. Exactly. And it doesn't have to be a pure idiom either. Think about famous lines like in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Absorbing that kind of cultural shorthand is useful too.
Good point. Okay, strategy 4, more active learning.
Yes, practice with a partner. If you have a study buddy or language exchange partner.
Like a little quiz game, but maybe more practical.
Yeah, don't just ask, what does hit the nail on the head mean? Try something like, okay, use hit the nail on the head in a sentence about solving a tricky problem. Forces actual application.
Makes sense. Put you on the spot a bit.
Uh-huh.
And the final strategy, you mentioned brain science.
Right. Make flashcards with emotion and visuals.
So, ditch the boring text-only cards.
Please do. Draw a little stick figure, even a terrible one, doing something related to the idiom. Like for under the weather, maybe a stick figure under a little rain cloud.
Yeah. That little visual gag helps lock it in your memory way better than just words.
It really does. Okay, so those are the strategies, but before everyone rushes out to use piece of cake everywhere, we need to talk about the mistakes, the pitfalls.
Ah, yes, because using an idiom wrong can be worse than not using one at all, right? It just creates confusion.
Totally defeats the purpose.
Oh,
So, number 1 mistake, trying to translate word for word from your own language.
Oh, that rarely works, does it? Kick the bucket does not mean hitting a pail with your foot.
Not at all. Idioms are almost always nonsensical, literally. You have to learn the meaning, the feeling, the situation where it fits. Don't look for word equivalents, look for feeling equivalents.
Good advice. Pitfall number 2.
Overdoing it. Trying to stuff too many idioms into one conversation.
Right, you end up sounding unnatural, maybe even a bit show-offy or something.
Yeah, balance is key. 1 or 2 well-placed idioms. Great. Loads of them. It's distracting. Sounds like you swallowed a dictionary.
Okay, good point. And the last big mistake.
Context. Using an idiom in the wrong situation, especially with the wrong emotional weight.
Like your example earlier, saying something difficult was a piece of cake. You wouldn't say setting up your grandmother's funeral was a piece of cake.
Absolutely not. The idiom has its own built-in feeling or tone. It must match the topic. The goal is always clarity and connection, not showing off or causing confusion.
Which really brings us back to the core idea, doesn't it? This isn't just about fancy language, it's about connection.
Exactly. Idioms are emotional bridges. They let you share feelings with more nuance, more humanity.
Think about saying hang in there instead of just don't give up. It feels warmer.
It does. Or suggesting peace by saying, let's bury the hatchet. These are tools for building and repairing relationships.
And the impact can be really tangible. We saw some great real-life stories in the sources, like Maria from Brazil.
Yeah, Maria felt her English was too formal, too serious in meetings. She started using idioms, sounded more natural, more approachable.
And she connected better with her colleagues, which actually helped her get a promotion. That's amazing.
It shows the real-world value. Or Ahmed from Egypt.
Oh yeah, his story was great. He used once in a blue moon, casually.
And his English friends laughed and said, hey, you sound like one of us. That feeling of belonging, of being included, that's huge.
It really is. That's the goal for so many learners. And Sophia from Spain.
For her, it was about understanding media. Movies suddenly made more sense. She said it felt like she was finally unlocking a secret code to the emotions and jokes.
That sense of getting it must be so satisfying. So this kind of transformation is possible for anyone listening.
Absolutely. And maybe a couple of quick genius tips for keeping the momentum going.
Go for it.
Okay, first, keep a living idiom journal. Don't just list the idiom and definition.
What else?
Write down where you heard it, who said it, the situation, and then your own example sentence using it. Make it personal, make it active.
I like that. Makes it more than just a list. Second tip.
Listen with intent. When you're watching that show or listening to music, actively listen for idioms. When you hear one, pause. Repeat it out loud. Try to copy the speaker's intonation.
Mimicking the sound helps embed it. And the final tip.
Be bold. Speak them. Don't be terrified of making mistakes.
That's a big one. Fear holds people back.
It does. But honestly, making a mistake just means you're trying, you're pushing yourself. It's proof of growth.
So true. Okay, let's wrap this up. What's the big takeaway for everyone listening about their next English conversation?
It's really this. Learning idioms isn't about showing off or just decorating your speech. It's about mastering the art of human connection. It's a shortcut to sounding natural and understanding others better.
So the encouragement is start small, start today.
Exactly. Pick one idiom. Just one. Maybe a piece of cake or under the weather. Try using it. See how it feels. Listen for the reaction. That little moment of shared understanding. That's fluency in action.
Love it. And finally, you always leave us with something to chew on. A provocative thought.
Well, we talked about how idioms often carry bits of history, like that rather grim origin story for kick the bucket.
Right, the farming story.
Yeah. So if even dark phrases have these historical roots, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other echoes of the past forgotten stories, old jokes, cultural moments are we unknowingly passing along every single time we use an idiom?
Like we're speaking fragments of history without even realizing the full story behind them.
Exactly. What deep, rich tapestry are we actually weaving with these simple phrases? Something to think about as you start mastering them.